Looking for real answers? Meet Bob the Psychic, Scottsdale's #1 psychic. Join live readings with Bob the Psychic every Monday night on Soul Search TV. Real people, real questions, real clarity. Bob connects directly with your energy using psychic insight, tarot, mediumship to bring guidance on love, career, family, finances, and your life path. His readings cut through confusion, offer validation and hope, and help you move forward with confidence and trust. Every Monday, 7 p.m. MST. Watch free on Soul Search TV, YouTube, or Facebook, or reserve your spot to join the Zoom room for a live reading. Experience clarity that changes everything. Limited spots available, so sign up before they're gone. What if your biggest challenges didn't start in this lifetime? Join internationally renowned past life reader Donna Hartley for a powerful Soul Search TV experience. Discover how your past lives are shaping your current relationships, fears, talents, and life path. During this live event,
Hi everyone, welcome back live streamers to our next amazing talk here at day one at the Soul Search Enlightenment Expo in Irvine at the Hilton Irvine. Welcome again to all of you joining us live here. We are so blessed and grateful to have you. And speaking of blessed and grateful, I am so happy to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Jose Mendoza. Dr. Mendoza specializes in energy healing based on Chinese medical and Taoist principles, an advanced form of energy healing unlike any other. Through intuitive and targeted methods, Dr. Mendoza helps his clients overcome chronic and acute issues. He's also a teacher of Qigong, an ancient modality over 5,000 years old, combining body movement, breathwork, and mindfulness to achieve a change of state and radiant health. And so today with Dr. Mendoza, we're going to take that deep dive into Qigong and discover how it can be the solution to modern world problems. Without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Mendoza.
There's something I want to share that frankly is a bit embarrassing about myself. And that's that I've always been a bit of an oddball, okay? Ever since I was a kid, I never really fit into anything, anywhere. And as I was growing up and doing these things, feeling like the outcast that I was, even though I'm here teaching this modality to people who are of like-minded, like interests, I'm still a little bit of an oddball. And that's because my background really comes from working in cardiac procedures. We're talking things like stents, pacemakers, high-stress situations where I'm sitting there assisting another cardiologist in doing these procedures with someone else on there. What's interesting is during my life, I came across this modality that I'm talking about, this ancient tradition that in that high-stress environment, I saw those benefits I received. I was the only calm, cool, collected person in situations where you're looking at a bad things about to happen. And I was able to observe things that nobody else saw. As a quick example, we once had a guy who was brought in and his heart rhythm became a deathly rhythm. And nobody had noticed because he was already passed out. He was already being put into emergency services. Until I said, what's wrong with his heart rhythm? Then things shifted. And it's because of this modality that I give myself thanks, and I also thank my instructors who taught this to me, specifically Dr. Jerry Allen Johnson and Diego San Miguel. Now I get to share this with all of you here. That modality is called Qigong. And we're really going to delve into what that is. And this is not just a talk, okay? Because it'd be boring, let's be honest, to just listen to me for about 50 minutes talk about a bunch of things. You guys are going to experience this and feel it, because with Qigong, feeling it is believing it, okay? Not just learning about it, not just picking up a book, not just knowing about it. You feel it to get an understanding. And I hope that'll make sense as we go through this talk. Where does this modality come from? This modality comes from China. in China, there's an ancient belief system called Daoism that maybe some of you are familiar with here. Raise your hand if you've heard of Daoism. Okay. Daoism is the original belief system of China. As far as the written record shows, Daoism has existed in China. That's 5,000 years. We don't have any written records from before that. It could be older, for all we know. And Daoism is the root of all the practices that come out of China, of all the cultures that come out of China. So when we talk about Chinese medicine, the people who invented Chinese medicine were Taoists. When we talk about these clinical practices, it was the Taoists that brought them about. When we talk about the method and lifestyle and the way they eat their food, their day-to-day interactions, it all originated from Taoism. Taoism was the root, and that's a very important word that we'll be covering later. Now, when we're speaking on this, what is Taoism? Yeah? There's a joke that goes, the Tao that cannot be named is not the true eternal Tao. Then why did Lao Tzu write 52 chapters trying to explain the Tao? Okay? I could tell you what Taoism is, but in telling you what Taoism is, it's no longer Taoism. I know a lot of this might be a little confusing, but as you experience it, you'll get a clearer picture of what this is. But one of the things that Taoists were obsessed with is nature. And when we talk about nature, I'm talking specifically the rhythms, the cycles of nature, and how you can live alongside them. I'm sure many of you have probably heard of the phrase, go with the flow. Okay? There's a Taoist concept, Wu Wei. And Wu Wei, most people interpret as go with the flow. You're not going with the flow. You're swimming with the flow. If you were a fish in a river, you're swimming with the current. Why? It takes less effort. That's why Wu Wei is effortless. And so one of the things we seek through this practice is living an effortless life. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah? But in order to do that, we have to be attuned to the rhythms and cycles of nature. They always say, as above, so below, as within, so without. You could say fundamentally that's a Taoist saying as well. Because the Taoists knew that if you were able to achieve this, then you were able to live in a harmonious, balanced life. And who doesn't want that? Yeah? Greater health, greater clarity, greater understanding, greater sense of purpose. But what's the issue? How many of you are living in accordance with all natural law? Okay? There's a disconnect. There's a big disconnect in modern times. Let's give you guys an example. All right? You wake up. Do you naturally wake up when the sun rises? Do you naturally wake up when the birds start singing, or for some of us, roosters? Or is it a jarring alarm clock that awakens you? And then what do? You rush to get ready because you got to get out of the door because you live in Southern California where there's a ton of traffic and you go 10 miles an hour. You don't drive through Southern California during traffic. You brake through Southern California when there's traffic. And that's the emphasis on brake. Life is broken. We no longer live in accordance with these natural laws. So we need to adjust. That's why we have these issues of higher stress, higher anxiety, loss of purpose, worse health. Where has our time gone? Where has our health gone? So we need our rejuvenating practices that can bring us back to a centered state in life. But we're no longer attuned to these rhythms. Does anybody here hear the music in the room? Raise your hand if you hear the music. Oh, okay, a couple people, that's great. For the rest of you that are looking at me like, what kind of weirdo are you? Okay, there are radio waves that are constantly emitting all day. There's music, there's talk. How many of you are hearing it right now? You're not listening to it, but it's there. Why? You need something that'll help you tune into those stations so that you can then listen to the music. And how do we do that? You have the transponder, you have the radio, you take the knob and you start to turn it to your station. Until you finally find that station there. Whatever it may be, jazz, classical, doesn't matter. But you have to tune the radio to that station, and then you are. So what happens in between? When you're trying to get, I mean, I'm showing my age by doing a knob. I'm pretty sure it's more of a button now. what do you get when you
Slow down.
you slow down, but there's noise in between. There's static noise in between those stations. Noise, the white static noise that you hear.
Was a void. Getting to the attunement is it's avoiding.
It's not a void so much as it's an interruption in the signal, right? Because you're trying to find that signal, you're trying to find the music station, whatever it is. You know how to get there, but you're not there. And in between is that noise. That's what daily life is now. Life is full of noise. How many of you get notifications, for example, on your phone? How often are those notifications? And then let's talk about all the things you have to do in a day. Let's not just talk about notifications. Let's talk about email. Let's talk about driving. Let's talk about career. Let's talk about home responsibilities, family responsibilities. We have all of these things piled on top. It's noise. And then we wonder why it's so difficult for us to get into a centered place, why it's so difficult for us to be able to hear. Most of us are interested in attuning our psychic selves, attaining higher spirituality, but then we wonder why it's so difficult. How can you do it if there's noise? You have to tune yourself to be able to listen to that music. And this is where Qigong comes in, because Qigong helps us change from one state to another state. You can think of it as a little shell that we fall into. That's that radio station that you're looking for. When we do this, now we get to that sense, balance, peace. Now you can live your life on your terms as who you are, regardless of what happens outside. If you look at the animals in nature, it's just like the Daoists did. They don't care if there are planes above us doing Lord knows what. They don't care if there's noise from construction around them. They actually run away from the noise. But they still live their lives in the same manner. Yet we are the only ones that have strayed away from that. Okay? And so that's the importance here. We want to tune in. So why do I keep recommending Qigong? First of all, what is it? Yeah, I keep talking about it. What the heck is it? Qigong is a Chinese word. How many of here are familiar with Kung Fu? The word Kung Fu. Okay, let's describe the word Kung Fu. Okay, you know what that word means? Hard work. Okay, because if you actually see those guys, when they open up and they drop into their deep stances like so, this took me a long time to get to here. Okay, it's hard work. So that's the Gong portion, work. We have that in Qigong. Qi is energy. We're talking about energy work, working with the energy, or we can even say it's the skill of life force energy. Okay? And what we're doing here is we're working with Qi. It's like an ancient infinite intelligence. It's what interpenetrates everything and allows us to function, move, be, and live. And that's what we're working through. So let me share with you what the power of Qigong really is. The first thing I want to share with you is that it's a holistic, full-bodied method. Okay? Is it an ancient practice? Yes, absolutely. Is it a distant practice? No. It's a living practice. It's a moving practice that we can engage in anytime and drop in anywhere. Okay? It takes into consideration 3 aspects of the self: the physical body, the energetic aspect, and the spiritual body. Is anybody here interested in any of those 3? Because we can work with it through this methodology. Instead of sitting and engaging in the mind and trying to quiet the chatter of the mind about, I have to go do this, I need to go do that, did you go to the bathroom, is it time to eat yet? The struggle is real, yeah? We don't do that in Taoist practices. We don't do that in Qigong. We engage the body. We engage the body to quiet the mind. Now, it seems a little odd, right? You're like, I'm trying to quiet the mind. Shouldn't I quiet the mind instead of trying to? No. We quiet the body. Why? Because then when we anchor and feel the body, then we quiet the mind. We spend too much time in our heads. Okay? Because we spend too much time in our heads, we don't feel the body. You don't feel the body, you can't anchor the mind. You can't anchor the mind. All day long, you hear that chatter. And if you're hearing chatter, that's noise. And if there's noise, you can't tune in. So then we need a method of practice that can help do that. And that's Qigong. There's many practices, there's many modalities. So I'm glad you guys are interested here to hear and listen and learn more about this. Most other modalities are like a single note. Okay, let's say 440 hertz, just to throw out one number out there. So they're very good at giving you a single vibration. Qigong is like a string of notes. It's a melody. So you're not just working on one vibration, you're jumping and working through multiple different vibrations as you go. That's the power of Qigong. You're working on the physical body, energy, and spirit body. It's another aspect. That's the power of Qigong. How do we accomplish this? Typically, it's a fourfold method. Okay? You have the movement aspect. You have the breathwork aspect. You have the mindfulness aspect. And then we bring intention too. When you combine all four, besides the fact that you're saving time, now you're getting a complete practice that works on you on all levels. And that's the power of Qigong. Okay? I mentioned that the Taoists were interested in balancing the body. How can you be balanced? This looks balanced, but how stable is this? I bring this leg up. If I'm standing on one,
Looking for real answers? Meet Bob the Psychic, Scottsdale's #1 psychic. Join live readings with Bob the Psychic every Monday night on Soul Search TV. Real people, real questions, real clarity. Bob connects directly with your energy using psychic insight, tarot, mediumship to bring guidance on love, career, family, finances, and your life path. His readings cut through confusion, offer validation and hope, and help you move forward with confidence and trust. Every Monday, 7 p.m. MST. Watch free on Soul Search TV, YouTube, or Facebook, or reserve your spot to join the Zoom room for a live reading. Experience clarity that changes everything. Limited spots available, so sign up before they're gone. What if your biggest challenges didn't start in this lifetime? Join internationally renowned past life reader Donna Hartley for a powerful Soul Search TV experience. Discover how your past lives are shaping your current relationships, fears, talents, and life path. During this live event, Donna will read selected participants and uncover the root patterns your soul is ready to heal. When you understand your past, you transform.
all the way down to the lower abdomen. Cool, that's good. Okay, now we're gonna do a little experiment. On the count of 3, I want everyone that's here to gasp, okay? Give me your best gasp, okay? 1, 2, 3. Now, did you notice that that filled your chest or your abdomen? Filled your chest, yeah? Well, guess what? That's a stress response. When you gasp, you're doing two things that aid that stress response. First is you're breathing into your chest, expanding your chest. You're signaling unsafe. This is not a safe situation. Second thing you're doing is breathing in through your mouth. You're doing the same thing. You're signaling unsafe situation. Okay? It's a stress response. How many of us are now walking around day to day just breathing into our chest, signaling all day to our body, you're not safe. This is not safe. Can't tune in if you're not safe. Okay? If there's any sort of tension, there's no connection. Can't align. Okay? So now, we've been breathing in through the nose. That's cutting off one. Now try to breathe into the lower abdomen. How we're going to do this is one hand on the chest, one hand on your stomach. Okay? Now as you try to breathe, make sure that your chest doesn't rise, just your abdomen expands. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose at your own pace. Okay? Might take a couple breaths, and that's okay. Yeah, you want to take as deep a breath as you can, slow and smooth. This will take some practice. When you look at some of the ancient Taoist teachings, some of them say you have to breathe into your heels, meaning that that's the focus. The focus has to anchor and sink the breath down deep into the lower abdomen. Remember, we're working on relaxing the mind, and to do that, we're working through relaxing the body. Chest breathing tension, tension, no connection. So bring it down to the lower abdomen, keep breathing. In Taoist energetic anatomy, this is known as the lower dantian. Okay? This area is an important area. Everybody here has heard of intuition. Everybody here has heard of a gut feeling. It's all related to that energetic aspect that lies here, the lower dantian. It's related to all your kinesthetic awareness. That's feeling and sensations. So when you work or you walk into a room and you get that creepy crawly sensation in some rooms, that's this signaling you. That's your gut instinct, lower dantian. That's why we breathe in there. We want to awaken and ensure that that's working and functioning. Okay? Does everybody feel pretty good with breathing down here right now? Great. Now we're going to enter the second phase. So as you are where you're seated, still in a comfortable position, I hope. Okay? Now I want you to close your eyes. And what I want you to do is in your seat, just gently begin to rock forward and back, just in a small movement. Rock your upper body from your hips to your head, forward and back. Okay? We're just rocking forward and back like this. What we're trying to do is find the center of where you are seated right now. Okay? When you think you've got it, when you think you know where the center point is between front and back, begin to slow down and shorten those movements. Smaller and smaller until you get to that center point. Once you've gotten there, now keeping that point there, begin to sway side to side in your seat, just like a gentle reed. What we're doing is we're trying to find that center, the exact center, because without an exact center, you cannot be centered. And if I haven't reminded you about being centered, let me just tell you that you should be centered. It's important. Same thing, once you think you found it, begin to shorten your movements, make it smaller and smaller until you come to a stop. Now, when we're seated, I want you to breathe into that location. Make every breath reach that location in through the nose and out through the nose. Big, slow inhalations, expanding the lower abdominal region. And each exhalation, feel your lower abdominal region come back and retract. With each breath, you begin to feel yourself relaxing deeper into that point. Deeper and deeper you go into that. Great. Who can hang out here forever? I'm pretty sure everybody here can hang out here forever. This is natural. This is an original state. When you look at infants breathing, you see their entire body moving with each respiration. Their entire lower abdomen expands and contracts as they breathe. Okay? This is the natural state. This is the shift that we need to do. And I can't tell you how many benefits you'll get if all you walk away with is just learning how to breathe like this and making it a natural pattern for yourself. I kid you not. If you fix your breathing method like this, like the ancient Taoists recommend, many of those issues in modern life won't bother you. You'll be able to glide through life in that Wu Wei method, more effortless. But this isn't the only practice we have. In Daoism, we actually do seated, standing, and moving meditation. I mentioned about the Qigong, the moving, and you guys just experienced the seated. But there's another layer. In Daoism, we have the yin-yang. And the yin-yang, most people think are opposites. It's not so much the opposites as it is a spectrum. If I was to have a stick, yin and yang would be on one side of the stick. It's still the same thing. It's just where on the spectrum do we want to be. Okay? Now it's time to go a little further and go deeper into that yin aspect of this meditation. So we've just rocked back and forth. We found our center. We're breathing into here. Now we're going to go to the most important rule to continue with this. Relaxation. I know some of you might think, I'm already relaxed. Let's go a step further. We're going to crank that up to 11, okay? In relaxation, not in agitation. So continuing as you are with your eyes closed. Begin to breathe in and out the nose. Feeling that breath go deep and anchoring low, just like you did before. As you're breathing, I want you to notice and imagine above your head is a golden drop of oil. Warm, golden oil. And now it begins to descend onto the top of your head. As it does, this oil begins to pour down the front of your face, this warm oil, taking with it, whisking away anything that is unnecessary, any tension. It goes down your forehead, past your eyebrows, going over your eyelids, over your nose and lips, down the front of your chin, taking away any unnecessary tension. That warm oil continues to wash down the front of your neck. It begins to go down your chest. And from there pours down both arms through the front of the arms. Continue to feel the warm oil as it pours down further. Now going over the front of the abdomen. Warm golden oil. As it comes down to where you're seated over your legs, it goes over the top of the legs, whisking away any tension that's unnecessary. It travels over the front of your legs, down the shins, down the top of your feet, and then that warm oil pours into the ground. All the tension that was in your body is in that oil dipping into the ground. Now that oil begins to pour down the back. And as it pours down, it takes away any tension and relaxes the area, down the back of your head. Feel the warm oil pouring down the back of your neck. And as it comes down, feel the back of your shoulders begin to relax and settle as that warm oil whisks away that tension. Feel it pour down your spine through your lower back, ensuring that it's no longer tight. As it reaches the seat, it begins to come around the glutes and down the back of your leg. Warm oil pouring down. Feel it go down the back of your calves, pouring over the heel and going into the ground, whisking away any tension that was unnecessary. Now, the golden oil begins to warm and pour from the top of the head through your center, going where the brain is, melting and relaxing you down. going through the inside of your neck, taking away any tension. Going through the chest, taking away any tension. Pouring over the lungs, pouring over your digestive organs. Going through the midsection. Feel that warm golden oil begin to pour through the hips, whisking away any unnecessary tension. And as it pours down through the hips, feel it begin to pour down through the legs to the knees. And as it goes inside your legs, pouring down through the lower legs until it reaches your feet. When this warm oil reaches the feet, feel it go through the center of the feet into the ground, taking away any tension. Now who can hang out here forever? Now when you're ready, what I want you to do is just feel the seat underneath you for a moment. And feel the floor under your feet. Then when you're ready, wiggle your fingers and toes. And then you can gently open your eyes. Who feels different now compared to when you first walked in? Yeah, that's a completely different experience. Same thing, same seated meditation, same breathing pattern, but we've added a layer in that relaxation. So now we've added in the mindfulness and the intention. And we're going to go on to the next two things because we still have two more to cover. That was the seated. You've now experienced the full yin aspect. Now it's time to do some standing. If everybody feels up to standing right now. Okay, I want you to remember that feeling of the warm oil, that relaxation and brought. Okay, please stand with your feet about shoulder width apart. Okay, you're going to just let your arms dangle by your side. No tension, no nothing. Just let the shoulders come down, relaxed. Okay, lock your knees and then just unlock them. This is where we want the knees, just unlocked. Okay, and now as you're here, without putting the hip out, start to shift from side to side. Okay, just start to feel your weight there. We're looking for the center again. Where's that center? When you think you've got it, begin to shorten that movement. So now we're trying to find it standing. Make that movement smaller, 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 until you're at the center. And we're going to do the same thing forward and back. Forward and back, forward and back. Just leaning forward and back. Let's find that. Forward and back, forward and back. When you think you found it, begin to shorten that distance. Make the swaying smaller, 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 until you're there at the center. This is known as wuji or empty posture. Okay, this is where we begin all standing processes. In fact, in some practices, we just stay here and do nothing else. That's not what we're doing today. Now that we're here, what I want you to do is you're going to go to your right, lean over to your right just like we did earlier. But now this time, feel that relaxation sink down into your leg. Feel your leg be fully relaxed. I know it sounds odd because you would say, how can my muscles relax? They're supposed to hold me up. But trust me, you can relax and be held up. Now shift it the other way. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to let all of that tension just relax down. Feel your leg completely relax. Okay? I'm limp right now. Like if anybody came up here and picked up my arm is dead arm. Okay? Now shift the other way. All we're doing is shifting and relaxing down. Feel that relaxation. Shift and relax down. Okay, now we've awakened the feet. Now we've gotten the movement down. We've gotten some sense of relaxation. So now I'm going to give you a very powerful exercise. It's known as pulling down the heavens. That means we're taking the sun, the moon, the stars, the cosmos, and we're pulling that down. Okay? Let me show you first, and then we'll have you guys do it. This is what it looks like. Simple. Yeah? All we're doing is reaching up, gathering, and bringing down. And we're just going to do this for a few repetitions. Reach up, gather, bring it down. Reach up. Don't worry about your breathing right now so much. Let's just get the movement down first. Okay? Reaching up, bringing down. Think about the intention of this move. Reaching up, we're gathering all that the cosmos has to offer and bringing it down. Okay? Again. So right now you're mindful of your positioning. You're mindful of the intent that you're bringing in. And we've added the movement to it. So now we're going to go a little deeper. Let's add the breath pattern to this. Okay, so watch me for a moment. As I breathe in, my arms come up. Breathing in, breathing in, breathing in. As I exhale, my arms come down. Breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. In the nose, my arms come up. Out the nose, my arms come down. And really feel your breath. When you breathe in, if you have to go slower, go slow. Really take that deep breath in and exhale, let it out. Let's do this for a few rounds. Breathing in, bring the arms up. Breathing out, bring the arms down. In we rise, gather the cosmos. Exhale, come down. Bring that through us. Breathing in. Breathing out. Now, there's definitely different ways we can play with this. So for the next repetition after this one, we're going to pause a little bit at the top and then descend. So follow me for a bit. Breathe in at your own pace. Hold. Exhale down. Doesn't need to be forceful. Daoists aren't forceful. Breathe in. Little pause. And exhale down. Remember, it's all about the natural order. That's why we're not forceful. Breathe in. Hold it. And exhale down. Good. How's everybody feeling now?
Sleep.
Sometimes if you need to sleep, you get sleepy. It's not a bad thing. Okay. If everybody would like, you can sit down for a bit. I'm going to talk to you about one last thing that we're going to cover as our final thing here. You've all seen and experienced for yourself what Qigong has to offer so far. You've gone through the movement, you've gone through the breathwork, the mindfulness, and the intent. Nobody in here can say they can't have experienced Qi now. You've all felt it. You felt the relaxation that it offers, how tuned in you are. Just check in with your body for a moment. How you feel now compared to when you first walked in. What's the difference?
More relaxed.
More relaxed, yeah? All by working with the body, making the body relaxed to calm down the mind. If you were to sit here in a few moments of meditation, how quiet is your mind now? Yeah? Pretty quiet. Guess what? There's more layers. We're going to add another one to it. Okay. I just showed you pulling down the heavens. This was the exercise. I showed you how to breathe in and breathe out. There's another aspect of breath work within Daoism that we can express. And that's through the exhalation. Okay? Through the exhalation, we're going to work with sound. Okay? And specifically, we're working with pulling down the heavens and all these things. We're trying to, it's poetically said as anchoring the heart. Okay? Bringing that sense of peace and relaxation throughout the body. So I'm going to show you the sound. I'm going to show you how to do the sound. We're going to practice the sound a little bit. And then we're going to really implement it. Okay? So the sound is like this. It's the Haaa sound. And it goes, Oh. That's the sound we're going to work with. Think about that sound for a moment. Okay? It's the first sound a child makes when they're born. It's the last sound a person makes before they leave this planet. That's the sound we're working with. Okay? And this sound is so much more than that. But we're using it to help us relax a little deeper, settle into the body a little more, and take our relaxation. Well, I don't want to say down a notch because that would make it sound like less, right? But more relaxation, so it's still down a notch. And you can use this at any time and any place. But specifically what I want you guys to understand is that it's a lower sound. So a lot of the ladies in the room, you have to sink your voice a little deeper to get it, okay? I don't want you to feel it here in your throat. You need to feel the sound resonate through your chest, okay? So let's give this a few rounds here, okay? Ready? Oh. Oh. Just a few more. Oh. Let me hear you guys do it. Go ahead, again. Oh. One more time, a little lower on this side. A little bit. Little. Good. Make sure your mouth is open and relaxed when you do this. It's all about relaxation. One more. Beautiful. Pause for a moment. Is there a shift? Do you feel different? Yeah. We haven't even done the big guns yet by doing it with the whole movement. So let's do that. Everybody please stand up one more time. Okay. Once again, you want to be in the Wuji posture. So shoulder width apart with the feet. Arms are completely relaxed. Lock your knees and then gently unlock. That's the position you want to be in. Okay? We're going to do the same exercise we just did, pulling down the heavens. But this time, we're going to exhale the Haaa sound instead of just exhaling out our nose. Okay? Ready? Inhale, come up. Oh. And then run through it a few times. Yeah? Oh. Okay. Oh. Just a few more rounds. Oh. Big open mouth when you cough. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Just feel it melt down. A few more. Oh. Reaching up again, breathing in. Oh. Excellent. Last one. Oh. And pause. Just breathe normally, keeping your arms relaxed at your side, eyes closed. And just begin to bask in this feeling and sensation of relaxation brought to you by Daoism. This is the power of Qigong. This is what will bring you back into alignment so that you can reach the refinement you wish. Because with tension, we don't have connection. You can't have that higher source. You can't have those higher functions of psychic awareness or even logic if you're not coming from a relaxed, centered state. You've all experienced the power of Qigong. You could sit down if you like, continue to bask in what you're feeling. Yeah, pretty different, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah. So I do want to mention to you, I'm here. I have a booth. You always feel free to come and visit me. We can continue the conversation here. I have classes. You can come talk to me about classes. And I have other little good bits that are there. I have free offerings too for anybody that's interested. But predominantly, this is what I do. I work with Qigong. I work with Taoist philosophy. Okay? Not the book stuff, the practical stuff. Because Qigong is a spiritual practice that's rooted in practicality. Remember I told you Daoism is the root. That's what we focus on, is that rooted groundedness that all of you are experiencing right now in this moment. Okay, so I want to leave you just with this final thought so we can get to some questions in case anyone has any questions. And that is that where the energy flows, the intent goes. Okay, so work on it to be effortless. Don't work hard on it because it's still effortless, but reach that state. Does anyone have any questions for me right now? Please.
So I had some meditation groups and, different people where the breathing is to breathe out of your mouth and you showed us to breathe out of your nose. Is there like a difference?
There is a difference, and it depends on what we're doing. I mean, I've never tried it. I could try, but to do the Haaa sound through my nose would be really difficult. Yeah. So there's a different function for it. So it's, what is the function? Yeah. For example, there's Wim Hof breathing. If anybody knows Wim Hof breathing, it's in and out the mouth is one of the methods that they do. But that's to achieve a particular state. So unless I know what the breath work is trying to achieve, I can't really recommend if it's in or out the mouth. But for this one, we focus primarily in nose, out nose. If it does become too stressful at any point, feel free to just exhale out the mouth. That is a pressure release valve that we have. That's why we go. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
How did the Qigong practice go in parallel with your healing practice? So your conventional.
As I was going to school, I came across it. I saw it back in the magazine cover, and I said, this sounds interesting. Let me go check this out. And I loved it. So I continued going to school, but I practiced on the side. And so for many, many years, I practiced. And it wasn't until about 2016 that I got a little more serious and said, I'm more interested in working predominantly with this. But that was my gateway into Qigong, into Eastern medicine, into Daoism, into all these other modalities that we have available to us for better health, wellness, being. That's how I was introduced.
And then how did you, in terms of, with your patient, how is that incorporated in your practice in healing or treatment?
You mean through like the Chinese energetic medicine clinic?
Mhm.
What you guys have experienced is something that I can do on the tape. So you can have a practice and you can achieve these states yourself, but I can also assist you and help you go deeper with that. Okay? What I do isn't just simple energy medicine. It isn't just a simple rebalancing. I can go further with it. There's methods that we can do where we can help open up, of course, your psychic centers, but we can also connect you to the source in a much better, cleaner way. Yeah. So if you want to deepen your spiritual walk, it's actually a very good modality for that, where you can get assistance from someone else to do so. Does that help? Okay. Yeah. Kind of. Right. So tell me, what's missing? No.
You have what is your specialty in healing?
Chinese energetic medicine, which is a Qigong applied energy medicine. So everything we just talked about, the philosophy of Daoism, Chinese medical principles, that's all incorporated into the energy healing. I like to put it this way. I fix problems you didn't even know you had in ways you don't understand.
Are you local?
Yes, Costa Mesa up to Los Angeles.
Okay. And do you have like a social media where we can?
I do, yes, I do. If you come by the booth, it might be easier to
Okay.
share. Yeah, but if you just want to search it up now, it's Dr. So DRJM DCEM.
Did you bridge Eastern and Western medicine when you work?
I didn't bridge, so to speak, but I saw commonalities into where one covers for the other. I worked a lot in pediatrics originally, So that's completely different. That's one place where the Western aspect works really, really, really well, is for pediatrics, because it helps the kids that wouldn't survive otherwise to survive and grow.
Did you use these relaxation techniques with your patients
No.
as you were helping them?
Not in that sense, not in that field. You have a question?
With the terms of, I work with spectrum children and the spectrum parents.
Okay.
So the parents can become more patient and understand the children. So with the breathing technique, I usually do it with grounding. I have children ground. So with the breathing technique, like you just did, because the body has to go with the mind. The body is first, and then the mind follows the body.
Right.
So with children, is that an easier way to get them to open, to expand?
If anything, if you're doing this method, it'll help them to root quicker. Children will respond very quickly to whatever method you do. Yeah. Any other questions? Last one, okay?
You said that it wasn't about a spectrum rather than opposites. Can you elaborate?
Yin and yang is a spectrum. Yeah. People think it's opposites.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. It is a comparison in a sense, but it's a spectrum. You wake up and then you fall asleep. There's the yin and yang cycle. Are they opposites? No, you're still alive. You're still in this body. It's just the states change and they gradually change. You go from being sleepy to waking up, from waking up to If anybody else has any other questions, you can come see me at the booth, okay? And we can chat further. Thank you so much for attending.
Okay.